Part 116. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1153. With the beast claw and the left eye working together, basically many gods are not his opponents. Even in the dragon sacrifice divine domain, he has the strength to challenge the higher level. He waited silently, and the vibration of the blood-colored vortex became stronger and stronger. Finally, at the last moment, another object fell from the center of the vortex. It was a blood-red heart. The outer surface of the heart was covered with dense blood vessels, like tentacles, swaying around, and the whole heart was beating violently. Puff puff puff. The sound was continuous, and every beat shook the entire second level of the evolution world once. Boom boom boom. The earth shook for a while. This scene can be said to be extremely terrifying, even more terrifying than the last time the beast claw appeared, so much so that it seemed that the divine beasts of the entire evolution world were wailing at this moment. This scene was simply full of wailing. Zhang Zizai's eyes were completely on the blood-red heart. It had appeared, as if it was looking for something in this evolutionary world. At this time, the divine beasts were hiding very far away, and many of them buried themselves deep underground, so it seemed that the heart discovered his existence at the first moment. After that, the terrifying beating heart came directly towards Zhang Zizai, and Zhang Zizai was also very bold. He relied on the black petals in the totem and opened his arms to welcome the arrival of the blood-red heart. Sure enough, it appeared directly in front of his eyes, and then shrank to the size of a fist. Almost in an instant, all the blood-colored tentacles on it pierced Zhang Zizai's body. These tentacles were like spikes, more terrifying than Janus blood thorns. This time the penetration was creepy. Zhang Zizai felt a fatal sting. This was the simultaneous existence of the divine body and the divine soul. At that moment, he felt that he was almost dying, and this heart was completely replacing his heart and controlling his body. He found that he was indeed too courageous. This adventure was more terrifying than ever before. Fortunately, this terrible moment did not last long. In the next moment, the black petals in the sea of life went crazy. The petals vibrated once, and the heart made a piercing scream, almost piercing Zhang Zizai's ears. Although it was a heart, it was completely like a life. But after this vibration, it completely softened, allowing Zhang Zizai to hold it in his hand. Although it was still beating, it had lost the feeling of life. Obviously, the scream just now was the scream of its end. Although it was more thrilling this time, fortunately it was successful. Zhang Zizai breathed a sigh of relief. The heart now was the same as the beast claw at the beginning. Although the terrible divine power still existed, it would have died on time and was completely controlled by Zhang Zizai. This time, he could take this heart and collect all the God King level evolution sources in the entire evolution world. But before that, Zhang Zizai pinched it and suddenly found that the heart was hard inside, and there seemed to be something inside. There was also an opening here, so he squeezed out the things inside and found that there were 9 in total, all of which were blood-red crystals. He thought it was an ordinary thing, but after a closer look, it was incredible. Each of these 9 crystals was like a complete world inside, filled with blood, and it was like purgatory. When he took these 9 crystals, these 9 blood-colored crystals automatically arranged into one, indicating that this was a whole. Zhang Zizai observed it carefully and found that what appeared inside the heart was likely to be an evolution source, and it was a very high-level evolution source. For this reason, he took out a book that recorded the evolution source of the God King level, and quickly flipped through it on the spot. He actually found an introduction to this evolution source at the end of this book. This is the ninefold death purgatory. It is said to be one of the top 3 existences among the domain-type God King level evolution sources. Zhang Zizai had never expected to have such a harvest. This was an unexpected surprise. This must have been brought down from the second level of the evolution source by the heart. It might need this evolution source to provide something. Now that it is controlled by Zhang Zizhe, this ninefold death purgatory naturally fell into Zhang Zizhe's hands. He looked at the introduction. This is also a domain-type evolution source. It can create a ninefold death purgatory world around it. In the death purgatory world, the totem owner is the absolute master. The death purgatory aura is everywhere. This is the most negative force in the world. It can penetrate everything and even be born from the enemy's body. It can corrode and infect the soul, body, and source. In other words, when fighting with such an opponent, the body and soul are always being invaded and cannot resist. Even the source of the god will be disintegrated, which directly leads to the regression of the realm. That's why the ninefold death purgatory is so scary. It's so scary. In the history of the dragon sacrifice divine domain, anyone who possessed such an evolution source was basically a well-known vicious person, but they were definitely very powerful, especially in the duel between the god kings. Even enemies who were 1 or 2 realms higher would be extremely afraid of their totems, because the battle between the god kings was completely a battle between totem beasts. Zhang Zizhe was of course happy. He had always wanted to find a suitable evolution source for Longyan, but he had never achieved anything. Now if she could evolve successfully, he would have understood a knot in his heart. Of course he smiled. After all, Yanner had already prepaid the reward, and if he didn't give it to her, he would feel bad. However, this time, Zhang Zizhe still took advantage of the deterrence of the heart in his hand and went to find those beast kings accurately. He swept almost all of them and got 7 evolution sources of the God King level, all of which were saved. Even so, there must be more than a dozen fish that slipped through the net, but Zhang Zizhe did not continue to look for those beast kings. He felt that after losing the 9-layer death purgatory, the vitality of the heart was continuously declining. It was estimated that it would be completely broken in a short time, which would be a waste. Therefore, after weighing the pros and cons, he hurried back to the God King Palace. This time he also went directly to Lu Dingxing and handed the heart to him. This time, it was estimated that the heart would be dug out and the new heart would be used to drive the body. Although it was disgusting, Lu Dingxing was a person with very strong willpower, and Zhang Zizhe believed that he could do it. After there was no problem here, he came to Longyan. Shen Xiao was also here. Recently, the sisters were inseparable, so Zhang Zizhe had no chance to take advantage of it. "What are you doing?" Shen Xiao asked vigilantly. "Can't you come if you have nothing to do? If you are not polite, you are either a traitor or a thief," she said with a smile. "If you say that, I won't give this surprise to Yanner." Zhang Zizhe coughed. Shen Xiao immediately changed his expression, pulled Zhang Zizhe's clothes, and said, "Brother Zizhe, I'm just joking with you, don't take it seriously like a little girl like me. You're the only one who's making a fuss, get out of here." Zhang Zizhe waved his hand, very domineering. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 1154. For a long time, Longyan has mainly used domain-type totems, and the ancient blood prison is the leader of the totems of the God King. However, in the dragon sacrifice god realm, compared with the geniuses in the dragon sacrifice god realm, the sources of evolution of divine kings such as the ancient blood prison are not very good, especially in Ancestral Dragon Academy, where almost all totems are at the God King level. If she hadn't been disadvantaged in the totem, her ranking on the supreme list would have been higher, and there would be no problem entering the Holy Dragon Mountain. The 9 levels of death purgatory that Zhang Zizhe brought back this time are likely to come from the 3rd level of the evolutionary world, if the 3rd level of the evolutionary world exists. Among the God King level domain type totems, the 9 death purgatory is enough to rank in the top 3. This is a very frightening source of evolution. Even if it appears in Zilong Academy, it will definitely cause a certain shock. Of course, everything still has to be based on the premise of successful evolution. If evolution fails, then it means that the source of evolution has been wasted. There is no way around this. They have a very high rate of evolutionary success. Evolution fails in most cases because the sources of evolution are not very suitable. The sources of evolution that Zhang Ziyi found in the evolutionary world have basically been selected, and the fit is very high. Although the 9th level of death purgatory has not been selected, Zhang Ziyi has had a hunch that this was tailor-made for Longyuan, who possesses the divine source of killing. After Zhang Ziyi handed over the source of evolution to Longyuan, he and Shen Xiao retreated. "You're pretty good to Yan'er," she said. Zhang Ziyi smiled. "It would be better if there was no such thing as reincarnation." "Do you want to go to the Dragon God realm?" Zhang Ziyi asked. In fact, with her talent, it would be better to practice in the Dragon Sacrifice God realm. Shen Xiao rolled his eyes and said, "Forget it. You guys are in trouble now, so I won't cause trouble. However, I would like to go back to the origin continent. Unfortunately, after becoming a god, I can't go back." "Me too." Zhang Ziyi paused and said, "You can't enter the origin continent, but my sisters haven't become gods yet. They can go in and bring people to the Well of God's realm to meet. I plan to go to God's realm after a while. It's just that you don't seem to have anyone you want to see." "You're right." Shen Xiao smiled bitterly. She just wanted to go back and have a look, but if Zhang Ziyi did it in the same way, it would mean nothing to her. "But I'll go back with you then." "Can." Especially what Zhang Ziyi wanted to find out the most was the relationship between the heavenly dragon god king and Zhang Junjian. He had already prepared a god king level evolutionary source for Zhang Junjian, and they would go to the Well of God's domain together as soon as the heavenly dragon god king returned. As for whether Zhang Junjian wanted to go to a better place to practice and leave the continent of origin, Zhang Ziyi still chose to respect his own wishes. After all, he has a mission assigned by his father, and it is also very important to protect Dajiang King City. He is waiting for the changes in Yan'er and Lu Dingxing. Lu Dingxing's side was much faster. He was indeed able to switch the heart and incorporate it into his body. Now he has 3 important positions in his body, all of which seem to come from the same existence and are completely used by him. The current Lu Dingxing's temperament alone is terrifying enough, just like the ancient demon god. Even if he is silent and does not speak, he is unforgettable. If only his left eye had the bloodline of the ancient demon god before, then he is now almost equivalent to possessing the 3rd level of the ancient demon god's bloodline. On the path of ancient demons cultivation, his talent is enough to enter the top 30 on the supreme list. The only thing he lacks in realm can be made up for in the future. After possessing the heart from the 3rd level of the evolutionary world this time, he, the 9th level of the ancient god, has begun to prepare to condense the totem divine form. Once his totem appears, it will be 2 huge pandas. The demonic panda totem of the great Hunshan Emperor, transformed into a totem divine form, is quite special and powerful in the dragon sacrifice god realm. Before that, Longyuan had already evolved successfully possessing a god king level totem, and evolved its totem into the 9-level death purgatory dragon totem. Her totem form possesses the characteristics of the mirror form. Others are protected by a totem form, but she is protected by 2 9-fold death purgatory dragons. A woman with blood-eyed eyes stood in the wind, surrounded by 2 huge bloody divine dragons. Each divine dragon controlled 9 levels of death purgatory. The endless energy of death purgatory surrounded her whole body, just like a goddess carrying death. While her evolution was successful, she had not progressed for a while, and at the same time she broke through to the 2nd level of the Divine Lord. Zhang Ziyi was only 1 level ahead of her. In fact, Longyuan is really the person closest to Zhang Ziyi in terms of talent. Her divine source of killing originally came from the 9th level of heaven, the source of heaven. Her divine body and soul both have the potential of a god. She also has a mirror god form that is not as good as the forbidden dragon form. Now she also has the 9th level Death Purgatory Dragon Totem. With her current combat power, reaching the top 30 on the Supreme list is no longer a problem. Although he left Zilong Academy, Zhang Zizai has successfully given him a top-notch transformation. If there is no reincarnation calamity like a knife hanging above her head, her future will also be the path of the gods, and the God King is no longer their ultimate goal. A month later, Lu Dingxing also successfully entered the realm of Godly Lord, and possessed the great Huntian Emperor Demon Panda as a totem god image. Although it was an illusory totem god image, the god body was terrifyingly strong, and the illusory god body was enough to be like a mountain, at least much more violent than the totem god image of the Golden Holy Mountain Dragon Totem. In addition, he had a left eye, a beast claw, and a heart. Even the 3rd level of the Godly Lord realm might not be his opponent. Xuanhuan was still a little behind, but the day when he became a Godly Lord would not be too far away. So far, although they were not in the Zilong Academy, the 4 of them had made great progress, especially Zhang Zizai, who reached the 3rd level of the Godly Lord, and could at least be on the Supreme list and look down on everyone. Zhang Zizai was still waiting for the opportunity to return to the Zilong Academy. What had been lost, oppressed, and despised, all had to be taken back by oneself. While waiting, the heavenly dragon god king finally appeared. He appeared quietly, without a sound, in front of Zhang Zizai and them, and smiled. "It should be possible to go back, follow me, it has been more than a year in a blink of an eye." Zhang Zizai has been waiting for this moment for a long time. He said, "Has there been any changes over there?" "No big changes. Some time ago they caught a god who went out of the Chaos Demon realm and killed him, which was considered a win. The Supreme Dragon clan was in a good mood. In addition, King Mu Dragon Lord temporarily returned to the Zilong Academy to stay. The Zilong Academy is now more stable. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 1155. So that's why, no wonder I can go back. It turns out that the Supreme Dragon clan finally got the upper hand. If I go back now, I guess I won't be attacked by everyone. Before I go back, I want to go to the Well of the Divine Realm and take my brother to see you," Zhang Zizai asked the Dragon God King. "I've told him about this before, so there shouldn't be any problem." "Sure, I also want to meet your amazing brother. Speaking of which, I still don't believe that there is someone so similar to me in the world," the Dragon God King smiled. For the Dragon God King, not only the Qingchuan small divine realm belongs to him, but also the Well of the Divine Realm and many totem worlds. Although he can't enter, they are basically under his control. After getting ready, they returned directly to the Well of the Divine Realm. The Well of the Divine Realm is still the same. The Dragon God King can directly take them into the upper Well of the Divine Realm. The Dragon God King knows the location of any totem world and can take them there directly, which basically doesn't take much time. Zhang Zizai had brought Zhang Yuning and the others with him, and also brought all the gifts for Zhang Junjian and the others. These things would make it easy for Zhang Junjian to become a god in a short time. Zhang Zizai hadn't seen his brother for a long time, and he was a little excited. After all, they grew up together, and Zhang Junjian was someone he respected, so he always missed him. Zhang Zizai was quite familiar with the location of the Well of the Divine Realm in Qingyang Realm. They shuttled through the Well of the Divine Realm at the speed of the Heavenly Dragon God King, and soon arrived at the location of the Well of the Divine Realm in Qingyang Realm. Zhang Zizai's previous source symbol was still in his hand, but with the Heavenly Dragon God King, he didn't need the source symbol to open the Well of the Divine Realm. But when he arrived at the location of the Well of the Divine Realm, Zhang Zizai was stunned for a moment. He remembered that the well of the divine realm was in a very empty place, and it was very obvious. However, there was nothing in front of him, and there was no door to the divine realm at all. Is it this location? The dragon god king was also stunned for a moment. He searched for a while and shook his head and said, "Strange, there should have been a gate to the god's domain in this place, but it's gone now." "What do you mean?" Zhang Zizai was completely stunned. Could the gate to the god's domain be moved or disappeared? He never expected that such a thing could happen. He confirmed countless times that it was in this place. Normally, the location of the well of the god's domain cannot be changed. The dragon god king frowned slightly. While others were still stunned, he said, "It's okay. I'll use the Xuanhuan realm heart to check it. Even if it may be remembered wrong or moved, it can be found in the Xuanhuan realm heart." At this time, he took out a green crystal. The interior of the crystal was divided into countless small crystals. Each crystal was a totem world. The Xuanhuan realm heart was something he used to control these totem worlds. Zhang Zizai didn't know what it was specifically, but in the confusion of his thoughts, he finally had a place to rely on. They were all waiting nervously, while the dragon god king was searching in the heart of Xuanhuan realm. It seemed that he wanted to search every totem world and then find the true location of Qingyang realm. Because there were too many totem worlds, the process was very long. But as time passed, the dragon god king's brows became more and more furrowed, which showed that he also felt doubts. The emergence of this matter can be said to be completely beyond Zhang Zizai's imagination. In the tense atmosphere, the dragon god king finally raised his head and said, "It's really strange. The world you are talking about has completely disappeared. There is a gap in the heart of Xuanhuan realm. I guess the location of this gap is the location of Qingyang realm, but now it is empty. How is it possible?" Zhang Zizai's mind was blank. The dragon god king shook his head and said, "I have been the god king of the small god realm for such a long time, and I have never heard of such an incredible thing. What I can see now is that this world has indeed completely disappeared, as if it disappeared out of thin air. Nothing is left. It can be said that it has evaporated from the face of the earth." Then my brother and sister-in-law. Zhang Yuning covered her mouth lightly, and she was already a little unsteady on her feet. "The world has disappeared, how can people still be there? Lu Dingxing and others still have relatives and friends in the origin continent, and Zhang Zizai's foundation is also in the great Zhongqing city. So many people are so important to him, and no one can accept that these people are gone." But Zhang Zizai was still able to remain calm. After being confused for a while, he suppressed his confusion and asked, "God King, are there other possibilities?" "Of course there are, because even if this whole world is destroyed by people and shattered by the ancient gods, there will definitely be fragments. The gate of the divine domain will not disappear. In my Qingchuan world center, it will not disappear completely either. Only fragments may be left. This method can be said to be beyond my understanding and even incredible. I can only say that this world may have its own special features, otherwise it would be impossible to give birth to such outstanding descendants like you. So before the facts are concluded, I suggest that you don't need to be sad. Zhang Zizai is the one who knows the special features of the origin continent the most, including his own parents, who are still a mystery. He hasn't completely lost his sense of proportion, but there are indeed many strange things in it, and his relatives are missing and may also encounter accidents, so it is really difficult for him to feel relaxed." "What can I do?" Zhang Zizai asked. "There is definitely no way. I can only say that you should pay more attention to this place in the future and check the information to see if similar things have happened. As for you, there is definitely no way. The disappearance of a totem world is not something you can understand," Tianlong Shenhuang said very straightforwardly. Then he searched again and found nothing. "Go back first. I will pay more attention to the situation here. Come back anytime," Tianlong Shenhuang said. At present, this is the only way. It is actually a waste of time for Zhang Zizhe to stay here. He originally brought many gifts this time, but he never expected that he would not be able to use them at all. Have the places such as Dajiang Wangchang, Yuanyuan Shenzong, Fuhe, and Tianlong Shengqiao disappeared forever? Zhang Junjian, Zhang Yangjing, Zhang Yi, Lu Yuan, Feng Xiaoao, and Feng Xiaoxiao of Yuanyuan Shenzong, Tian Yafu Wang of Shenxi Fuzong, and Shenglong Emperor of Tianlong Shengqiao never see them again? It's incredible to think about it, but it must be accepted. Brother, no matter what happens, I must find you, one day. He didn't know how long Zhang Junjian could live before he became a god, but it would definitely be longer than Yan'er. The Dragon God King was right. He didn't have the ability to solve such an incredible thing for the time being. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 1156. He comforted Zhang Yanning and the others. It was still most important not to let them despair completely. In fact, Zhang Zizhe himself felt that this might not be a disaster. Maybe they were all living well elsewhere? Maybe all of this was done by my parents who were so unbelievable and completely incomprehensible? He could only guess. The heavenly dragon god king promised to thoroughly consider this matter, so he was relieved a lot. Zhang Zizhe didn't think much about it. He took Zhang Yanning and the others back to the Qingchuan small god realm, and then said goodbye to them. This time, Su Yuexi and Shen Xiao did not go to the dragon sacrifice god realm with them. After all, the atmosphere of the dragon sacrifice god realm has changed now. In other words, life is not guaranteed, let alone other things. Zhang Zizhe would never forget the faces of each of those thousands of people who surrounded him. And the few people who led all this, such as Huang Fufeng and Zhang Zizhe, will never forget them. When he goes back this time, he will definitely not give up, but time is still long, just wait and see. After returning from the Well of God's realm, the heavenly dragon god king brought them back to the ancestral dragon academy according to the original plan, and they still retain their status as disciples of the ancestral dragon academy. How did the supreme dragon clan react after the last incident ended? Zhang Zizhe asked the heavenly dragon god king after returning to Qianlong Palace. What kind of reaction can I have? I am immersed in the anger of the 3 dragon lords and dozens of god kings being killed, and plotting a counterattack. Even if I know what happened in the Zilong Academy, after knowing that the 4 of you are not dead, this matter let's just forget about it. No one reacted, said the heavenly dragon god king with disdain. So it seems it will be more dangerous for us to come back this time, Zhang Zizhe asked. There are indeed many people who want to kill you, but those who grow up in adversity can become a peerless hero. In this way, I will give you something. He suddenly stretched out his hand, took out 8 talismans from the space jade pendant, and said, this is a very top-level god-level talisman. It's called the world-shifting talisman. The main talisman is all with me. These secondary talismans are given to you. Once you suffer a life-threatening attack, as long as you are within the scope of Zilong Academy, whether it is Huanlong Mountain or a secret realm like the Hidden Dragon Sea, you can come back to me immediately. If I am not here, you will arrive at my Dragon Sacrifice Palace, and my Dragon Sacrifice Palace will also protect you. Zhang Zizhe was originally a totem talisman master, but he hadn't touched the talisman for a long time. I used to have the beast taming talisman, the inanimate talisman and the immortal talisman on my body, but in fact these are ordinary divine talismans. They can be used countless times when they were mortals, but after becoming a god, they can be used once and their true power is gone. Now at the level of the Divine Lord, ordinary divine talismans have no effect. For example, the so-called immortality talisman cannot cure the damage Zhang Zizhe is suffering now. Only the source talisman can also be used as a door to the divine realm. God-level talismans are not very precious, but the universe-shifting talisman is a very effective life-saving talisman. It is very rare and not many people can draw it. According to the heavenly dragon God King, as long as they are not suddenly attacked by a God King level being with a fatal attack, the universe shifting talisman can take them away. 2 copies for each person is very safe. This is equivalent to giving Zhang Zizai and the others a basis for activities in Zilong Academy. Otherwise, I really don't know if someone will go crazy and cause trouble for them again. This is tantamount to using themselves as bait to test. It's okay that no one pays attention to them. If it remains the same as last time, it will prove that there is almost no hope for them to stay in Zilong Academy anymore, unless the Palace Master level can personally protect them. It is said that King Mu Dragon Lord is now the Palace Master here. Based on his relationship with Guangming Dragon Lord, he may be slightly kinder to Zhang Zizai. After giving Zhang Zizai and the others the universe-shifting talisman, the heavenly dragon God King left. After all, they needed to experience it on their own. Practice first and then talk, Zhang Zizai said. When he first came back, he didn't want to be too high profile, but he still adhered to the principle of don't offend me, I won't offend others. The last time he challenged the supreme ranking, he defeated Huangfu Feng and reached the top 30. He has the qualifications for the Hidden Dragon Sea. However, he has not been challenged for more than a year. It is possible that his ranking on the supreme ranking has dropped to over 100. However, when Zhang Zizai arrived at the Supreme Hidden Dragon battlefield, he found that his ranking was still 27. He was surprised, but after thinking about it carefully, maybe because he left under special circumstances, the Dragon Sacrifice Masters of Zilong Academy made an extra exception for him. Is this considered as compensation for himself? Of course, this also has its advantages, as it saves Zhang Zizai from having to spend time to capture a dozen more people before he can enter the Hidden Dragon Sea. With his current status, he estimated that if he wanted to apply to enter the Holy Dragon Mountain, he might need the help of the Heavenly Dragon God King, so he decided to go to the less crowded Hidden Dragon Sea to take a look first. Maybe it was because he had been away for too long. In the Ancestral Dragon Academy, almost no one recognized him along the way. It was not until he arrived at the Hidden Dragon Sea that the Dragon Sacrifice Master guarding the Hidden Dragon Sea recognized him. Unexpectedly it turned out to be Huangfu Yanchao here. You still dare to come back? Huangfu Yan shook his head and smiled. I am a disciple of Zilong Academy, why can't I come back? Zhang Zizai chuckled. Of course you can, but this time, you may not be so lucky, Huangfu Yan sneered. Really? It sounds scary. Zhang Zizai curled his lips. He was too lazy to talk to this guy and just walked into the Hidden Dragon Sea. Zhang Zizai, the death of Tianxiang Longzun must be all blamed on you. We, the Huangfu family, will not let you live in this world, Huangfu Yan said. It sounds quite an honor. The death of the God of Heaven can actually be blamed on me. Isn't it because Tianxiang Dragon Lord himself is too weak? Zhang Zizai laughed. How dare you insult my ancestors? Huangfu Yan really didn't expect that he would be so bold. But Zhang Zizai was too lazy to pay attention to him and stepped directly into the Hidden Dragon Sea. Huangfu Yan was not qualified to stop him. However, Zhang Zizai must know that when he entered the Hidden Dragon Sea, the news of his return to the Zilong Academy would definitely spread, and the direct descendants of the 3 dragon lords who died in the battle would definitely continue to find trouble for him. But what is there to be afraid of? The next moment, he had already walked into the Hidden Dragon Sea. This is indeed an endless sea. The whole world is at the bottom of the sea. There is no sea surface at all. The surrounding sea water is turbid, and the sight is not far. Only some nearby locations can be seen. To be honest, this Hidden Dragon Sea looks a bit ordinary, but the deeper you sink, the more terrifying it becomes, because the sea water is completely mixed with rich divine spirits. To some extent, it can barely be compared with Zilong Spring. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1157. But the scary thing is that this Kanglong Sea is endless and vast, which is incomparable to Zilongkan. Only 20 people can enter this Kanglong Sea, which means that in addition to the true dragon heart, the spiritual energy of Kanglong Sea is incomparable to other places. It is completely understandable that this place ranks before the Holy Dragon Mountain. He was about to dive down, and suddenly someone floated in front of him. It was a woman who was like a dream in the water, with white clothes fluttering and graceful posture. The snow-white skin that was vaguely revealed was so moving. Such a temperament must be stunning. In the pure and perfect, there is endless temptation. The surging style hidden under the holy appearance is unbearable for ordinary people. It was Mu Xiaoxian from the Xianlong Mu family. Over a year later, her ranking has not changed much, still 28th, only behind Zhang Zizai, but what cannot be ignored is that outside the supreme hidden dragon battlefield, her strength is the 9th level of the Divine Lord, one step away from becoming a Divine King. He and Huangfu Feng are also close to the realm of Divine King. Zhang Zizai remembered that the Qingxiu Dragon Lord who died in the last battle was the Dragon Lord of their Xianlong Mu family. It was the one who excited everyone to surround and kill Zhang Zizai, but I don't know if she was there. Zhang Zizai had the Qincan moving talisman in his hand, so he was not afraid of her. What's more, she was still smiling, staring at Zhang Zizai with a smile, and said in a delicate voice, "I haven't seen you for a long time, you still look so interesting. You are also very brave. You dare to come back at this time. I thought I would never see you again. It's okay, surviving a disaster will surely bring good fortune in the future," Zhang Zizai said lightly. "Yes, you look like a very blessed person. Today is your first time to Kanglonghai, are you confused?" Mu Xiaoxian asked with a smile. Zhang Zizai looked at her smiling face and asked, "It is said that the 1000 Snow Dragon Lord of the Immortal Dragon Mu family died in the battle of the Chaos Demon Realm. Wouldn't Miss Mu blame me for this?" Mu Xiaoxian chuckled and said, "You have misjudged me. It is a coward's behavior to vent your anger on this. It was your unintentional mistake to let the Immortal Lord be reborn. It is really unfair to blame you. It sounds like she is quite clear-headed and considerate." However, Zhang Zizai only believed it 50%. He said, "It's rare that Miss Mu doesn't resent me. So, do you want to travel with me in this hidden dragon sea? It's boring to be alone. I'll introduce you to it," Mu Xiaoxian invited warmly. After saying this, it would seem a bit unromantic to refuse her. Zhang Zizai knew that this person would never have any love for him anyway. He wanted to see what she wanted from him. "Miss Mu's invitation is so kind that I naturally cannot refuse it. I am very grateful for your guidance," Zhang Zizai said. "No need to be so formal. I am just bored and want to show you around." Mu Xiaoxian smiled. She was so beautiful that she was particularly charming when she smiled. So Zhang Zizai accompanied her and let her lead the way down. "I just know that there are a few places where the true dragon heart may exist, but I have been searching hard for it. With you, maybe there will be other gains." Mu Xiaoxian smiled. Zhang Zizai knew that the true dragon heart still had to be robbed. He went with him. Could it be that he wanted to value his luck and that she could rob him when he found the true dragon heart? Then she really thought highly of him. After all, he quickly obtained the forbidden dragon god phase and the son of the two heavenly godly artifacts. However, Zhang Zizai did not believe that his luck could be so good. She was really enthusiastic, and took Zhang Zizai directly to the depths of the hidden dragon sea, and the places they arrived at were all places where she thought the true dragon heart might be. Along the way, she also chatted with her, and was very interested in Zhang Zizai's origins and the things about the small divine realm, but Zhang Zizai basically only revealed half of it. It was quite interesting to be accompanied by such a beautiful woman. However, Zhang Zizai was a little unromantic, and his attention was all on the true dragon heart. In fact, he didn't have any special feelings, and he didn't have the special feeling of getting the forbidden dragon god phase and the son of the heavenly divine artifact. This is the area where the true dragon heart is likely to exist. You have to perform well, Mu Xiaoxian said with a smile. Okay, Zhang Zizai came to the sea area, and to be honest, there was no one here, and there was almost no hair, so he asked, how do you think the true dragon heart exists here? Keep it a secret, just take a look, and if you get something, you have to find other true dragon hearts for your sister, Mu Xiaoxian said. Of course, if I can gain something, I will definitely give it back to you, Zhang Zizai said with a smile. If she really thinks this way, it's fine, but I'm afraid she doesn't want to give him a true dragon heart. With someone next to him, he has no way to find the true dragon heart, so he wanders around. This area is the area designated by Mu Xiaoxian. She has a feeling that there must be a reason. But Zhang Zizai's headache is that such a place is all sea water. Where is the so-called true dragon heart? He searched for several days, but there was no response at all. It can be seen that Mu Xiaoxian seems to have no patience. Her calculations are shrewd. She valued Zhang Zizai's luck from the beginning. If the true dragon heart really appears, then in the end it depends on who is stronger. And she is a being comparable to the God King. The God King of Tiandu is probably vulnerable in front of her. Under such circumstances, Zhang Zizai was not very enthusiastic about the true dragon heart, because he knew that even if he found it, it might be robbed. He is still with Mu Xiaoxian, but he is very interested in the area where she determined that the true dragon heart existed. After not finding anything in this area, Mu Xiaoxian said, "Oh, maybe I was wrong. There is no true dragon heart here at all. Let's change places." Zhang Zizai followed her arrangements. About half a day later, they changed places. Zhang Zizai didn't have any hope for himself, but when he just came to this area, he suddenly found that in the Sea of Life, the black petals held by the chaos-swallowing sky dragon seemed to tremble, and then rotated, and the tip of the petals pointed to a certain direction. This was incredible for Zhang Zizai. This was the first time that the black petals indicated a direction for him, and it was so clear. He pretended not to care and went in that direction. When he passed through a certain water area, he suddenly seemed to hit a hard object at the heart position of his chest. He looked down and was stunned. In front of his chest, there was a transparent crystal heart. The heart was beating slowly, and the flowing liquid inside was clearly visible. In the distance, it seemed to form a reincarnation. In fact, Zhang Zizai felt that this true dragon heart was not simple. At this moment, he heard a shocking scream that completely disregarded his image, reincarnation. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1158. Reincarnation. Zhang Zizai was a little confused when she heard such a gentle and elegant girl scream. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. The name of this true dragon heart is called Reincarnation. This is the place where she brought herself. Didn't she know what the true dragon heart was? Otherwise, why would she be so surprised? Now his body has touched the transparent true dragon heart. To be honest, if it weren't for the black petals leading the way, he wouldn't be able to find this location at all, let alone the true dragon heart. Mu Xiaoxian can roughly lock this location, which is also very capable of her. Zhang Zizai's ears are now a little stinging from her scream, and he is a little unresponsive. At this moment, he looked back at Mu Xiaoxian. What he expected was that this woman had indeed lost her former elegance. She was like a madman, extremely impatient. She was indeed very powerful. At this moment, she rushed towards the true dragon heart, obviously wanting to snatch it. At this moment, the pressure from her was almost the same as that of a real god king, completely making Zhang Zizai unable to move. Bring it, she stretched out her slender jade hand and suddenly appeared in front of Zhang Zizai. Without saying a word, she stretched out her hand to capture it. From her eyes, it can be seen that in her eyes, Zhang Zizai was actually a child who had no power to resist. All this happened in the blink of an eye. Zhang Zizai had no time to react, and Mu Xiaoxian had completely blocked all his actions. It was like moving countless mountains to suppress Zhang Zizai's head. She was really not very polite. From the beginning, inviting Zhang Zizai to travel to Kanglongxi together was for this purpose. Unfortunately, some things in this world cannot be obtained by calculation. Just when her palm was about to touch the transparent true dragon heart, the true dragon heart shook, and an invisible wave spread out, directly hitting Mu Xiaoxian, who was suppressing Zhang Zizai and sending her flying. And Zhang Zizai was completely safe and sound. Mu Xiaoxian was completely stunned. She couldn't believe it, staring at the true dragon heart with trembling eyes. From her eyes, it can be seen that she had an unimaginable desire for the true dragon heart, which was enough to make her completely crazy. Sister Mu, what are you doing? Next time I get the true dragon heart, I will give it to you, right? After Zhang Zizai realized that the true dragon heart would not be touched by Mu Xiaoxian, he relaxed and the smile on his face was intriguing. Shut up, Mu Xiaoxian rushed over again without saying a word. She disappeared in the blink of an eye and appeared directly in front of Zhang Zizai. While grabbing the true dragon heart with one hand, she tried to push Zhang Zizai away with the other hand. She no longer wanted to hide her true thoughts. She was now clearly trying to fight for the true dragon trust, even at all costs. Zhang Zizai smiled, but he was just laughing in his heart, because he knew that some things did not belong to her, and it was useless to force them. She understood so much about herself, but she actually underestimated herself. If Zhang Zizai could get the fortune, how could he give it to her? Sure enough, she attacked again, and she could not succeed in snatching the true dragon heart or pushing Zhang Zizai away, because the true dragon heart had already combined with Zhang Zizai at this time. Her attack again could only make the true dragon heart shake her away again, and then in the next moment, the transparent true dragon heart actually penetrated through her skin, passed through the flesh and bones, entered the chest cavity, and directly merged with Zhang Zizai's heart. Fusion is a continuous change. The fusion of the true dragon heart is a transformation that requires a certain process. At the beginning of the fusion, you can see that a transparent spherical shield appears around Zhang Zizai's body. This spherical shield completely protects him. Almost in the next moment, Mu Xiaoxian attacked again, and the result was that she was shaken away further, and even the corners of her white mouth even shed bright red blood. Zhang Zizai, Samsara. Seeing Zhang Zizai being protected and fused with the heart of the true dragon of Samsara, Mu Xiaoxian was completely stunned. She squinted her eyes, struggled with her eyes, clenched her fists, and stood still. After that, she did not continue to move, but it can be seen that an unimaginable storm was stirring in her heart. Zhang Zizai also ignored her. Anyway, he was absolutely safe. For him, Mu Xiaoxian was shooting herself in the foot. She had such a good plan, but unfortunately, in the end, things that did not belong to her still did not belong to her. No matter how strong she was, and how much she suppressed Zhang Zizai, she could only stare blankly outside. Zhang Zizai was enjoying this process. He knew that the fusion of the true dragon heart with his heart was actually fused into the heart of the totem god image, which could give the totem god image a foundation for solidification. With this foundation as the foundation, the cultivation of the entire God King realm in the future would advance by leaps and bounds, much faster than any genius. Even after reaching the God King realm, the true dragon heart is still of great use. For Mu Xiaoxian, the true dragon heart meant that she could become a divine king. She was just one step away, and it was said that the true dragon heart could help her accomplish this step. Just like that, the chaos-swallowing sky dragon appeared beside Zhang Zizhe. It can be seen that when the true dragon heart merged with Zhang Zizhe's heart, the heart in the totem god image also transformed from illusion to reality. This process is a bit like the freezing process. A pool of completely pure water is difficult to freeze even at a low temperature, but as long as there is ice in it, the speed of condensation will be beyond imagination. So Zhang Zizhe can enjoy this process with a smile on his face. He doesn't know what reincarnation means, but from the fusion process, he can't see any transformation in himself, and even feels as if his strength has not increased at all. It is said that some true dragon hearts are enough to make people transform on the spot. He did see that the heart of the chaos-swallowing sky dragon had condensed into a solid, which made this forbidden dragon god look more terrifying, but that was all. From his own state, he didn't seem to have any transformation until the last fusion. This made Zhang Zizhe wonder if this true dragon heart was a fake, but judging from Mu Xiaoxian's expression, it shouldn't be a fake. Since then, the fusion of the true dragon heart has been completely completed. At this time, the transparent shield is disappearing. Zhang Zizhe put away the totem god image. He is a little confused. He thought he would make great progress, but he found that he didn't make much progress. It's a pity. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1159. He looked up and found Mu Xiaoxian in front of him. Her expression seemed to have frozen for a moment, and it was hard to tell what her mood was. Zhang Zizhe knew that she was upset, so he smiled and said, "Sister Mu is really too anxious. I said that I would definitely give it to you the next time I find the true dragon heart. I will never break my promise. Besides, the true dragon heart that I have merged now seems to be useless. It is meaningless for Sister Mu to fight for it. However, I can understand your desire to get the true dragon heart. I wonder if you are still willing to travel with me." I still felt confused about whether I should continue to look for the true dragon heart. Since she wanted to use me, Zhang Zizhe also felt that she could be used by me once. However, what Zhang Zizhe couldn't understand was that Mu Xiaoxian didn't respond to his words at all. When Zhang Zizhe's transparent shield of the true dragon heart disappeared, Mu Xiaoxian did only one thing without any hesitation: killing. That's right, she wanted to kill herself. This is absolutely true. She did not hesitate at all, just to kill with one strike. With her 9th level of Godly Lord, far beyond Zhang Zizhe's realm, she actually sacrificed the Godly King level divine weapon, and even used all the ancient god's source power. Even the almost solid totem divine image appeared directly at this time, and rushed towards Zhang Zizhe to kill. With her power comparable to that of a godly king, killing Zhang Zizhe is no different from killing dust, and it can be easily wiped out. No matter how much capital Zhang Zizhe has, he can't smooth out the huge gap in age and realm. The other party has similar talents to her, but he has practiced for decades more, and he must be far behind in a real confrontation. She is also sure to kill Zhang Zizhe. It is obvious that with her personality and mind, she will never give Zhang Zizhe a chance to breathe at the moment she decides to take action. What she asked for was to kill Zhang Zizhe with the power of the Godly King, and it was a one-shot kill. At this moment, Zhang Zizhe couldn't figure out why she killed him directly. Could it be because of the death of King Xulongzun? But if so, why did she choose this time? She could have done it when they just met, and the timing was about the same as now. Another possibility is that she was jealous of him getting the heart of the true dragon, but Zhang Zizhe knew that this would definitely not be the only reason. Life and death were at this moment, but Zhang Zizhe was not afraid. With the protection of the heavenly dragon god king, he could be fearless at this time. Sure enough, at the moment when the opponent's fatal blow came, the Kinkan moving talisman on his body was directly used, and the hidden dragon sea was also within the range. Therefore, Zhang Zizai only felt a flash in front of his eyes, and he had already appeared in the dragon sacrifice palace of the heavenly dragon god king. There was nothing around, so Mu Xiaoxian could not be seen, and of course there would be no danger. It was just that the Qinqin moving talisman was wasted, which was a bit of a pity. You used one up so quickly? I don't have that many, why don't you use it more slowly? The heavenly dragon god king was right in front of him. He stared at Zhang Zizai with his eyes wide open, quite speechless. Do you think I want to? Zhang Zizai said with a headache. I met a woman, she was fine at first, but suddenly she killed me. Who? Hearing Zhang Zizai's words, he was a little curious. Mu Xiaoxian from the immortal dragon Mu family. When I went to the hidden dragon sea, she insisted on leading the way for me. Zhang Zizai then roughly recounted the matter. Just when he said the word reincarnation, he suddenly found that the heavenly dragon god king had stiffened all over, his eyes widened, staring at Zhang Zizai dully, even his lips trembling a little. Zhang Zizai had never seen him so surprised. Are you sure that the two words she said at that time were reincarnation? Describe the true dragon heart you saw. He can be said to be extremely excited now. Zhang Zizai described it, and after he finished, he also checked it and asked Zhang Zizai to show him the totem god image. The heart position of the current totem god image is completely solid, but there is nothing special about it. Is this reincarnation true dragon heart powerful? Why don't I feel anything at all, as if there is no change from beginning to end? Zhang Zizai was puzzled, wondering if they were wrong. You are talking nonsense. Tianlong God King was stunned. He had stepped back 2 steps and looked at Zhang Zizai as if he was looking at a monster, saying, it is basically certain that you got the reincarnation true dragon heart, which is exactly the same as the description, and even your current situation is exactly the same. This time it is really a blood prophet. This is much more precious than the forbidden dragon god image. I didn't expect that you would get such a good fortune when you came back. This Zilong Academy is really good to you. What's the use? Zhang Zizai asked curiously. He did not answer directly, but said, the heart of the true dragon of reincarnation is the most top-notch true dragon heart born in the hidden dragon sea in the legend, and there is no other. It is the pinnacle of the true dragon heart since records have been made, and no one has ever really obtained the heart of the true dragon of reincarnation. It has only appeared before. If no one has obtained it, how can we know its efficacy and preciousness? Zhang Zizai asked. It's just that no one has obtained it in the records, but the records have left legends, so someone must have obtained it before, but it was not recorded. None of this is important. What's important is that in such an authoritative book, the description of reincarnation is absolutely correct. Tianlong Shenhuang said seriously. What are the specific effects? Zhang Zizai was a little excited after hearing this. There are 2 effects. One is reflected in the level of improving talent. Reincarnation is the heart of the true dragon, and the heart of the true dragon can accelerate the cultivation of the divine phase realm, allowing you to reach the divine king realm much faster, and it is you can definitely become a god king. Of course, this is just the general effect of true dragon heart. The effect of reincarnation has 2 levels. The first level can make you reach the realm of god king quickly, and the second level can definitely make you become a god king. You become a god. In other words, this is a qualification that is more reliable than the potential of a god. With the heart of the true dragon of reincarnation, it is basically certain that you will eventually become a god. Zhang Zizai was shocked after hearing this. It turned out that the heart of the reincarnation dragon was the kind that could definitely make people become gods. Not to mention other things, this effect alone is incomparable to other true dragon hearts. Most of the true dragon hearts are only in the realm of the god king during the period of their effect. The Samsara true dragon heart is not only effective in the realm of the god king. The practice is effective, and it can directly help people become gods. he was a little confused and couldn't figure out the meaning of it, but God meant immortality, the pinnacle of the 49 divine realms, the pinnacle of everything, freedom and authority, and now he had the true dragon of reincarnation. After the heart, it is only a matter of time before he becomes a god. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1160. When I really think about its effect, it is really difficult to calm down. No wonder Mu Xiaoxian screams for this true dragon heart. Becoming a god king and becoming a god are not the same concept at all. For example, in the Bright Dragon clan, there are countless god kings, and they are constantly in the replacement. The descendants of the Bright Dragon Lord have died for unknown generations, but he exists forever. I'm afraid there is no second thing in this world that can guarantee that people will become gods. Speaking of which, although I don't know how to achieve the Samsara true dragon heart, this basically paved the way for Zhang Zizai to become a god. From now on, he only needs to go there step by step. Even if he had nothing to do with the Immortal Lord, I am afraid that at this moment, he would have been regarded as a treasure by the Supreme Dragon clan. After all, the current divine kings have not said who will definitely become a god in the future. The Supreme Dragon clan has not given birth to a god for too many years, and they have lost for this time. The loss of each god is very important to a large clan. It's all disastrous. The number of gods directly determines the power of a great god domain. Most of the confrontations between the great god domain and the great god domain are between the gods. Once they are weak, it is likely that the entire god domain will be oppressed and occupied. After all, the resources of the Supreme Dragon clan there are many people who want it. The heart of the true dragon of reincarnation sounds like it is indeed much better than the son of the forbidden dragon god and the heavenly artifact. Zhang Zizai himself was a little unbelievable. It was indeed what the black petals were looking for him. It would be fine if he didn't take action. This action made people tremble with excitement. The heavenly dragon god king was equally excited and said, "Now, I guess those gods will have to reconsider your matter. In fact, you just need to let them know that they can control you, and you will not stand on the side of the Immortal Lord, then the training you will receive in the future will be endless. I also need to consider this matter for you. If Mu Xiaoxian doesn't say it, there is no need to spread it." Zhang Zizai nodded. If word spreads, while causing shock, there is actually a certain danger. If the gods of the Supreme Dragon clan unanimously believe that they are uncontrollable and will eventually fall to the Immortal Lord, then they will definitely kill themselves first. If these gods had such thoughts, there would be no way for him, Zhang Zizai, to survive that day. Even the heavenly dragon god king couldn't protect him at all. So this matter needs to be thought about carefully. Or, let some gods know first, such as Guangming Dragon Lord, who seems to be protecting Zhang Zizai. After all, Zhang Zizai still belongs to the Guangming Dragon clan. However, I don't know if Mu Xiaoxian will tell anyone. You just said that the Samsara True Dragon's heart has two effects. One is reflected in the enhancement of talent, and the other, he has not forgotten this matter. The heavenly dragon god king smiled and said, "Actually, the true dragon's heart is more or less the same. On the one hand, it enhances talents and increases the speed of cultivation. On the other hand, it can also be used temporarily, giving the user some unique talents and abilities. In this regard, reincarnation the ability is also incredible. What is slightly imperfect is that this ability may be unstable because it is too terrifying. Its name is, reincarnation state." "What is this reincarnation state?" Zhang Zizai asked expectantly. "The state of reincarnation is an explosion of the heart of the true dragon of samsara. Once it explodes, the power of the true dragon of samsara is born from the heart. This is a power that does not belong to your body at all, but it can be integrated into your divine source. Causing your divine source to expand several times, even dozens or hundreds of times, in a short period of time. The exact extent is unknown. Anyway, once it explodes, it is likely that you will have the ability to fight with opponents several levels stronger than you. Pay attention, I am here the fact that you are several levels stronger than you is based on your real combat power. For example, if you can compete with the 5th level of the Divine Lord realm now, then if you enter the reincarnation state, you will probably defeat the 8th level of the Divine Lord realm. It sounds like this state of reincarnation is also terrifying. He could actually make Zhang Zizai explode to such an extent in an instant. He was a little sluggish and asked, "How can I enter this reincarnation state? Why don't I feel anything at all? Will there be any changes by then? For example, will there be consumption after use?" He imagined the state as a way for some ancient demon cultivators to stimulate their potential. That method can also burst out strength beyond one's expectations in a short period of time, but it consumes a lot of energy after use, and the side effects are very terrible. Basically, it requires a desperate effort. Method used. How do I know? There's nothing in the record. You can only fumble for it. I guess it depends on luck, or your mood, or your perception. It's not that easy anyway, otherwise why would I say it's unstable? But I'm sure the best thing is that there will be absolutely no side effects, and even each time you explode, your divine source will be expanded to a certain extent after use, making you stronger. The effect is very good, but it seems that this reincarnation state can be used. It's not easy to succeed if you can't ask for it, so you need to think more. Understood. No wonder there is no reaction at all now. It turns out that the functions of the samsara true dragon heart are so restrained. One requires practice to know, and the other is in an unstable explosive state. I don't know how many years or months it can be used. But Zhang Zizai is indeed very satisfied, because possessing the heart of the true dragon of samsara basically means that his future cultivation path is absolutely unstoppable. His status on the supreme list will definitely be rewritten because of this. "I know why Mu Xiaoxian wants to kill you," the heavenly dragon god king said. "I also know that, first of all, she thinks that I caused the death of her family's Qingxiu dragon lord to a certain extent, which led to the decline of her family's power. She has murderous intentions towards me. Secondly, seeing that I got such a good thing, when she couldn't snatch it, she naturally wanted to seize this opportunity to kill me once and for all. Although it was risky, she didn't want me to get reincarnation," Zhang Zizai said with a frown. "I didn't expect that under the glamorous appearance of this woman, there was such a sinister heart. She was very decisive. She killed whenever she wanted, and she killed decisively. She didn't take Zhang Zizai's life seriously at all. Unfortunately, Zhang Zizai had prepared in his hands, so she didn't succeed. It's just that this grudge has been completely formed. If she is still hypocritical with me when we meet next time, it will be a bit shameful. For such a person who hates me so much and almost sent me to the West, even if she is a beauty, she is an irreconcilable shit in Zhang Zizai's eyes. How can I forget the revenge of killing my life? Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 1161. Do you have any evidence like last time? If you do, if she does it alone, I can send her to the forbidden dragon Xuandi for at least 10 years, the heavenly dragon god king said. Zhang Zizai thought for a while and said, "No need. In this case, she might talk about reincarnation when she is in a hurry, and it seems to have no meaning. In this ancestral dragon academy, there are so many people who want to kill me. There is no need for those people to find reasons to resent me." That's true. If you don't touch her, I guess she won't talk about reincarnation, because if you tell her, your status may improve, and it will be impossible for her to do anything. The heavenly dragon god king looked at Zhang Zizai, said, think carefully. Anyway, you only have one Kinkan shifting talisman left. Cherish it and use it. Don't use it all in one go. Understood. Zhang Zizai smiled. Originally, he had gained a lot today. After more than a year of silence, he returned to Zilong Academy. He did not expect such a terrible fate. Before he left, he said to the heavenly dragon god king, I want to enter the holy dragon mountain once. Can you apply for it for me? Is there any hope of getting the sons of other heavenly artifacts? The eyes of the heavenly dragon god king lit up. Zhang Zizai nodded and said, it can only be regarded as a guess at the moment. Okay, I will help you apply now and wait for my good news. According to him, if there is anything good, just get it as soon as possible. Zhang Zizai returned to Qianlong Palace first and told Long Yan and the others what he had learned. Not surprisingly, he received their extremely respectful looks again. Lu Dingxin had long been used to it, but Suqinyu still had some unfavorable things that were not suitable for Zhang Zizai. He was stunned for a long time at his achievement. With his character, he even joked, come on, let's kneel down together to the future god and hug our thighs tightly. Zhang Zizai didn't have to wait long when the heavenly dragon god king informed him that his application had been approved. As the top 30 on the supreme list, he was already eligible to enter the holy dragon mountain, but the number of times would be limited, maybe 1 month. This happened once, and he couldn't stay too long, but it was enough for Zhang Zizai. He came to the holy dragon mountain again and entered it. This time after arriving at the 9-color mountain peak, he locked onto an area of purple flames. In this area, there was a giant purple flame bell. The giant bell hangs on the mountain wall, like a coiled purple dragon. The dragon's flames soar into the sky and burn with fierce flames. It is very obvious that it has a pair of very huge purple wings. The purple dragon, its wings are made of purple flames. When opened, they are longer than its body. They are burning fiercely. As long as they come here, their whole body will feel hot. There happened to be no one here, so Zhang Zizai was walking over there. Zhang Zizai, suddenly someone called out to him. It turned out to be Mu Xiaoao. She was still so fresh and agile. The fat Tuabasia next to her was still following her like a follower. He would greet Zhang Zizai in the past. But this time, they all seemed a little indifferent when looking at Zhang Zizai. Is something wrong? The relationship was completely broken, and there was no point in getting involved. Mu Xiaoao didn't have as much depth as Mu Xiaoxian, so her happiness and anger were all on her face. It was obvious that she blamed Zhang Zizai for Qingxiu Longzun's death. On. You actually dare to come back? Do you really think you won't die in Zilong Academy? Mu Xiaoao said with slightly red eyes. Then you don't need to care, Zhang Zizai smiled coldly. Who cares about you? How long do you expect to live for a lowly life? If you are so courageous, you are seeking your own death, Tuabaxi said in a strange tone. You didn't talk like this before, Tuabaxi, you still have 2 faces, Zhang Zizai said. I remember that when I first came here, I wasn't even close to being brothers. Now that the situation has changed, it seems like I'm going to add insult to injury. When I first met you, I thought you still had some meaning and could ponder over it. Now I see clearly that you are just a short-lived ghost with nothing to say, Tuabaxi said with a sneer. No matter what, you will have to pay the price for my ancestors' sacrifice sooner or later. Zhang Zizai, I don't believe that you, a sinner, can still be so arrogant in Zilong Academy. After you come back, you must be hiding everywhere. I heard about your return, and now I'm thinking of ways to kill you, Mu Xiaoao said angrily. Shh, if you say it like this, don't you let him know that his death is near, so that he won't be frightened and run away, right? Do you know what gave him the courage to come back? He must have thought that our supreme dragon clan killed a random person. The beasts in the demon realm will be in a good mood and ignore him, Twabaxi said with a smile. I don't care so much, anyway, everything is your fault. Muziao gritted his teeth, although you are ignorant, too many people have paid the price for the sins you caused. The ancestors should not have passed away. Muziao said sadly. Little demon, we can avenge your ancestors, just the two of us, Twabaxi reminded. Muziao's eyes moved, then he shook his head and said, no, the risk for two people is too great. Let my sister and the others do it, and brother Huangfu Feng. He is the one who wants to kill him the most. In fact, at this point, Zhang Zizai ignored them for a long time. He had already approached the Chaos Fire Bell, stood in front of the Purple Flame Bell, and then bombarded it with the Dragon Seal of the Five Emperors. Buzz! A crisp laughter shook the world. From the perspective of Twabaxi and Muziao, they saw that in addition to the blue and white dragons, a purple flame dragon was wrapped around Zhang Zizai, and then turned into a pair of huge purple flame wings behind him. Buzz! When the wings spread, Zhang Zizai soared into the air and flew directly, crisscrossing between heaven and earth. This method was much more stable than using the ancient god's source power to float in the air, and it was almost completely possible to fight on the ground. That is, the purple fire sky wings of the eternal chaos purple fire tribulation dragon. He got the son of the third heavenly artifact. The two people were completely speechless. When they lost their voices, trembled, were powerless and angry, Zhang Zizai flew over their heads without even looking at them, and flew out of the Holy Dragon Mountain. After that, it was even more impossible for them to catch up with Zhang Zizai. And this time, Zhang Zizai's goal was still the Supreme List. He has been to the Hidden Dragon Sea, and he has obtained 1/3 of the Son of Heavenly God's artifact from the 9-Dragon Chaos God Bell in the Holy Dragon Mountain. So it's time to take a step forward on the Supreme List and see what the top 10 of the Supreme List will be like. Please bookmark this site to read the latest novels. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 1162. I haven't been to the Supreme Hidden Dragon battlefield for more than a year. I didn't expect it to be so lively here. Zhang Zizai came alone this time. When he arrived here, he saw the heavenly dragon god king here. He saw Zhang Zizai in a moment and appeared in front of him. He said, I have nothing to do recently, so I came here to be on duty. I can help you. How is it? Did you get another harvest in the Holy Dragon Mountain as expected? He asked casually, as if he was not very sure. Unexpectedly, Zhang Zizai said, it's almost the same as I guessed. After entering the first level, the 9-Dragon Chaos God Bell did give me another Son of the Heavenly God artifact. If this goes on, maybe when I reach the 9th level of the Godly Lord realm, I should be able to get 9 Sons of the Heavenly God artifact. Then maybe I can get the 9-Dragon Chaos God Bell. What a monster! The Heavenly Dragon God King shook his head and laughed. To be honest, his growth path is actually a legend, and even somewhat similar to Zhang Zizai, but he has no backing, so he is more low-key. Moreover, he did not have the experience of being an immortal, so he would not be hated. But in front of this legend, Zhang Zizai's current achievements made him dumbfounded. This Zilong Academy is simply his place of fortune. Everything that other people have obtained, combined, is probably not as much as he alone. If he really gets the 9 Sons of the Heavenly Artifacts, then he really has a certain possibility of getting the 9-Dragon Chaos Divine Bell. By then, I'm afraid it will be exaggerated. Controlling the heavenly artifacts and controlling the God King level totem weapons are not the same concept at all. The God King level totem weapons come from the forging of the gods, which is considered to be creation, while the heavenly artifacts come from the birth of heaven and earth, which is completely different. Therefore, the heavenly dragon god king can only wait and see. He knew that Zhang Zizai came to the Supreme Hidden Dragon battlefield today after he got the fortune from the Hidden Dragon Sea and the Holy Dragon Mountain, and wanted to continue to move forward on the Supreme list. He was also happy to escort him at this time. Until this time, because of the appearance of the Heavenly Dragon God King, many people discovered Zhang Zizai. In fact, the news of his return had already spread, and many people already knew about it, but only now that he appeared in such an occasion, they could be sure that it was not a rumor. When they heard the news of his return, many people's first reaction was, "Is he not afraid of death? I was wondering how he dared to come back." It turns out that the Heavenly Dragon God King has been protecting him. But, how can he be like a follower for his whole life? This coward, I thought he was really not afraid of death. I'm afraid he was scared last time, otherwise why would he only dare to stay by the side of the Heavenly Dragon God King now? Everyone wants his life, and he comes back. Doesn't that mean he looks down on us? I bet that if he dares to leave the Heavenly Dragon God King, he will definitely not live for more than a month, and it is impossible to find out who killed him. Our Supreme Dragon clan suffered huge losses because of him, and there are many people who want his life. Not only ordinary people were discussing, but also many of Zhang Zizai's acquaintances were waiting for him here at this time. For example, in a corner, Huang Fufeng and Mu Xiaoxian met with Mu Xiaoao, who hurried over. When Mu Xiaoao told them that Zhang Zizai got the Son of the Heavenly God artifact again in the Holy Dragon God Mountain, there was only extreme deepness in their eyes, and there was no hesitation in the murderous intent. And it was unprecedentedly deep. The murderous intent in it might be enough to make blood drip. Huang Fufeng is still normal. His sister is still in the Forbidden Dragon Mysterious Jade. His ancestor Tianxiang Longzun has died in battle. His hatred for Zhang Zizai has long reached the point where it cannot be saved. It is absolutely a life and death struggle. The last time he instigated everyone, it was his Huangfu family who started it. However, Mu Xiaoxian has never shown her murderous intent in public. She has always been calm and indifferent. So seeing that she actually has such a cold side, Huang Fufeng asked curiously, "Why did you suddenly figure it out? Didn't you want to kill him so much before?" Mu Xiaoxian moved her mouth, but didn't say what she wanted to say. Finally, she said, "He has too much capital, but he is born rebellious. Especially after what happened last time, it is even more impossible for him to become one of us. It is better to kill him. For the sake of our entire Supreme Dragon clan, it really can't be dragged on." She hasn't thought clearly about the matter of the heart of the true dragon of reincarnation, so she held back for the time being. That makes sense. Anyway, people who do wrong should pay the price. Huang Fufeng's face was gloomy, even a little hideous. Today, he seems to want to challenge the Supreme List. He is now in the 20s, so next, he can challenge more than 10 people. Mu Xiaoxian swept his eyes to the Supreme List. Among the 10 people from 11 to 20th on the Supreme List, only one name was lit, proving that there was only one person in this Supreme Hidden Dragon battlefield. 11th, Xiao Yizan. "Brother Xiao, you are the only one here." Huang Fufeng turned around and said to a man in black. The man in black was tall and thin, like a goshawk, especially the hooked nose was very sharp, and the pair of narrow eyes were also very sharp. He had a cold face and a very gloomy face. At first glance, he was a person who lived in darkness and fighting for many years. Needless to say, this person should be from the Demon Dragon clan. After hearing what Huang Fufeng said, Xiao Yizan smiled coldly and said, "I wish he would find me. If it weren't for the fact that people can't be killed in the Supreme Hidden Dragon battlefield, I would have solved it by the way, so as not to let this person come out to get in the way. Brother Xiao, if nothing unexpected happens, he will soon have a chance to enter the top 10. It is indeed easy to deal with this person. In fact, if it were not for the reverse time dragon formation, we would be able to deal with him as easily as cutting melons and vegetables." However, what I want to say is that if you just embellish it and make others think that you killed him by mistake, it should not be considered a fault, Huangfu Feng said. It depends on the situation. If you can kill him, don't keep him. It's an eyesore, Xiao Yazan said. He knew that Huangfu Feng wanted him to kill people. Anyway, there was no risk for Huangfu Feng. It was not that he was unwilling to do such a thing. After all, he also wanted to send Zhang Zizhe to the west, so he just looked at whether there was a suitable opportunity. I'm afraid that Zhang Zizhe dare not challenge you. He can challenge those ranked 19th or 20th, it's just that he will wait for a month before fighting. Challenging Brother Xiao is a bit risky, Mu Xiaoxian said. When she put away her murderous intention, she looked normal. But just when she finished speaking, a red dot appeared behind Xiao Yazan's name on the Supreme List, which meant that someone had issued a letter of challenge to him at this time. Needless to say, everyone knew who it was, because Zhang Zizhe was already waiting outside the anti-time dragon formation. As long as Xiao Yazan accepted the challenge, he could step onto the battlefield. He actually dared to challenge the One Zhan Demon King. This is really crazy.